Hello everyone, my name is Sabrina Melodieuse. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are doing a tutorial, a very exciting tutorial on how to do this amazing Sharin Shawl. Yes, it's true. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause and I'm going to show you a short clip that I did with my phone on how to wear this particular shawl, because there are 3 different ways on how you can wear it. It is very versatile, it is a lot of fun and very exciting. And then I will be back to show you a little bit closer up. And after that, I will give you a lot more details. Like we will talk about the designer and a little bit about the story about how this beautiful shawl came about. So I will pause and we will get this started. Okay, and so this is how you will wear your Sharin shawl. You have several options, of course. This is the option with the I-cord. So this is the front and this is the back. Now we'll flip back around and you can see where the I-cords are. I will show you up close. Here's one. You just fasten the front and then you fasten where the sides are so that this becomes like a sleeve. Or you can just take off the I-cords and wear it just like a normal shawl. So let's take off the I-cords. This is a beautiful shawl called the Sharin Shawl. I absolutely love this design. I really do. It's so easy to make, so quick, and I just really enjoy it. I'm going to have to make another one or two. So you can wear it just like that as well, just as a normal shawl. There we are. Alternatively, you can also fasten the 2 fronts together, just like so. And I think this is pretty neat as well. There we are, just like that. And I think this is really pretty as well. I really like that option actually. And there we are. And it keeps you really lovely and warm. And yeah, I just really love it. So there we are. This is how you would wear the shawl. Okay, now that we've seen that little clip, I'm going to show you a little bit closer up if I can. So this is how it looks. And you see with the wonderful cords here, and those form sleeves like that. And of course, here's the back and the front, of course. And it is really a lovely thing to make. And then you can just simply take off the cords and wear it just like your normal shawl that you would wear. And you can take off the cords on the side as well. So let's do that quite quickly if we can. There we are. One and another one. There we are. Got our I-cords gone. And we can just simply wear it just like a normal shawl. Or, of course, you can tie the fronts together, which is, I think this is such a lovely option. I really like that one a whole lot. This is probably my favorite. There we are. You could just go out on an evening with a beautiful dress, not red because it's clashing with the colors, but something like that. And you could just, yeah, that would just be so neat. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to pause and I am super excited to talk about the designer and of course how this beautiful pattern came about and the pattern availability, etc., etc. Okay, now I'm really excited to talk about this beautiful shawl and of course about the designer. So I think we should start with the designer, shall we? So the designer is David Browning from the Bearded Yarn Dudes. Yes! So, of course, in the description box below, I will link his YouTube channel and also his email address if you've got any, questions for him or anything like that. Or if you just want to say hello to David because he's so lovely. So, what can I tell you? David Browning is such a fun person. On his YouTube channel, he has a lot of different playlists. He does crochet, of course. He does a lot of shout outs. He talks about poetry, music, and many other different topics, which are just a lot of fun. And he is a very calm person. He's got a very soothing voice and just overall a really enjoyable person. And his designs are just amazing. So when he asked me to produce a tutorial for one of his designs, I was so flattered and beyond honored to say, "Of course I will, David," with a lot of pleasure. Now let's discuss this beautiful shawl. How did it come about? There is a very beautiful story behind this. So the wonderful shawl has a lovely little story behind it that really warms my heart. David has a lovely friend who recently gave birth to a baby. And when he asked her husband, what could he, give her as a gift? Her husband suggested a long cardigan or some type of shawl, and because as ladies, after we give birth, we always feel very, self-conscious of our bodies. We shouldn't, but somehow we do. It's a natural thing that happens. So David thought about it and came up with this concept of doing a long shawl, which is this one, that can be worn in 3 different ways. Like a kimono style, if you use the I-cords to put to the side here and to the front, and it does become a kimono, which is lovely. Or you could just wear it as a normal shawl. So if you undo that, for example, then it's just a shawl, you see? Or you could alternatively just fasten the fronts like that, and it becomes a wonderful item as well. Very, very chic and very lovely for an evening wear. So there we are. This is a beautiful shawl. And the name, well, he named it after his lovely friend, of course. Her name is Sharin. So this beautiful shawl is called the Sharin Shawl. Absolutely so much fun to make. And I absolutely love this design, really do. The pattern is available to buy on Ravelry. I will link the pattern in the description box below. The price is very minimal, so please don't be afraid to buy it. And also, this tutorial here is completely free. So you can also follow the instructions in the tutorial. I'm doing this tutorial step by step from beginning to end. So I hope that you will join me and the wonderful designer, David Browning. Hi, David. I hope that I will give this tutorial, well, that the words are just completely going. I hope you will really approve of this tutorial. I hope I will give it justice for you, David, because this is really amazing, and so are you. So let's, without further ado, go ahead and get to the actual tutorial. We will talk materials and we will get started. So let's discuss materials. For this particular item, we are going to need 2
mandala cakes. So I've got my 2 right here. So each mandala cake has 590 yards. Let's see if I can zoom in. Or 540 meters. And we are going to need just under 2 cakes to complete our shawl. And this is the color that I'm going to use today. For our particular item, I have made some notes about the yarn. So although we have this recommended, there is a reason for that. It is because the self-striping effect works really well with very long rows of the garment. But a solid color would work just as well, so long as you make sure that you have some DK weight and 300 grams of that particular yarn. So in addition to that, we are going to need a 5.5 millimeter hook as well as a 6 millimeter hook. Now, it was not recommended or suggested in the pattern, but I am going to just put that in there because this is my own tip. Myself, I'm going to use a couple of stitch markers, and this is for when I deal with a particular row, and it will make complete sense when I will show you how to work this shawl. So now that we have all our materials, we are ready to start on this wonderful shawl. So let's get started. Very quick note on the stitch markers. We have to stress out that this is completely optional. You do not need to use the stitch markers if you do not feel the need to. However, for a very helpful tip, I would definitely suggest the stitch markers. Okay, so we are now ready to start. There are 2 different methods into which you can start this particular shawl. So the first method is with a 5.5 millimeter hook. You are going to go ahead and do 211 foundation single crochet. I am going to do a separate tutorial for how to do a foundation single crochet, and I will link this tutorial in the description box below. But for the purpose of this particular video tutorial, I am going to use the 6 millimeter hook as recommended in the pattern, and I'm going to chain 212 chains. So I will start with my slip knot, and I think I need to zoom in. Yes, I do. Okay. So slip knot on the hook and make sure that it is not too tight, that it can travel around your hook very nicely. And you are going to chain, you're going to do a chain of 212. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm not going to do the whole chain in front of you because this could take a whole lot of time. So I'm going to finish my 212 chain, and I will rejoin you to tell you what to do next. I now have my 212 chains, and I am ready to switch from my 6 millimeter hook to my 5.5 millimeter hook. And now we are ready to proceed with the first row. So the first row is essentially just a foundation row. So to start, we are going to go into the second chain from the hook. And I'm sorry guys, I will be right back. And now I have my 212 chains, so I'm ready to switch from my 6mm hook to my 5.5mm hook. So now that we have done that, we are going to go ahead and begin with our first row. And essentially this is our foundation row. So into the second chain from the hook, we do not count that as a chain or stitch or anything. So we're going to count 1 and 2. And in that second chain, we're going to put in a single crochet. So let's go ahead and do that. Single crochet. Now that we have our single crochet, here is where this is just for you to decide if you want to do that, completely optional. I am going to put in a stitch marker because very often with single crochet we don't know where the first and the last single crochets are. We might simply go into the chain thinking this is a stitch, and so we are adding a stitch, or we could possibly do one stitch less. So for myself, when I work with single crochet, I like to make sure I put a marker in my first and my last single crochet of the row. Okay, but if you feel very comfortable and you don't need any such thing, that's okay. Let's proceed with the rest of this first row, which is the foundation row. So now that we've done our very first single crochet, we're going to go into the next chain and we're going to do a single crochet. And we are going to do that for the whole row. We are going to work a single crochet in each chain. So by the time that you come to the end of this row, you should have 211 single crochet. When you have got your 211 single crochet, I will be back and tell you what to do next. I have now completed my first row and I have got 211 single crochet. So now that we have got our first row done, we are ready to proceed with the second row. So to do that, we're going to have to chain 3 and turn our work around. So 1, 2, 3, and turn your work around. It is worth to note that chain 3 at the beginning of every row is our very first double crochet. So now that we've chained 3, and this counts as our first double crochet, we are going to double crochet in the next stitch. Not in this one here where there is the stitch marker, because out of that stitch there is essentially our first double crochet. So we are going to double crochet into the next stitch. And let's zoom in a little bit. So double crochet into the next stitch, not this one, but this one. So double crochet. We now have 2 double crochet. And I will now remove this stitch marker. So you see, 2 double crochet. So now I am looking at the note, and this is where our repeat begins for the rest of the row. We are going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and into the next one we're going to double crochet. So skip that stitch, and into here we're going to double crochet. Also another important note, that when you are going to do your chains, make sure that it is quite loose and not too tight, because in the next row you will need to work in that chain. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next one do a double crochet. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet into the next one. And this is the repeat for the rest of the row. You're going to chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next stitch. And you're going to do that for the rest of the row. When you get to the end of the row, you will have 1 stitch left. So I will meet you there and I will tell you what to do next. I'm at the end of row 2 and I do have 1 stitch left. So in the last stitch we are just going to do a double crochet. So let's do that. A double crochet in the very last stitch. And that concludes row number 2. So this is what our work looks like so far. It is like a mesh, as you can see. So we are ready to proceed with row number 3. And to do that, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work around. Chain 1 and turn your work. And now we are going to single crochet in each stitch and chain across. So we are going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. Maybe let's zoom in a little. Okay. Zoom in the very first 2 stitches. What did I just say? What I mean is single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So 1, here's the first one, and because I'm dealing with single crochet, I'm going to add a stitch marker immediately. But obviously this is your choice. You don't have to. This is just, optional. So, and then single crochet in that next double crochet. And here is where the repeat begins. So, and this is very important that during this row here, the previous row, that when you worked your chain, that it was quite loose and not too tight, because the next single crochet we're going to work it into the actual chain and not the chain space. It is in the actual chain. So let's do a single crochet in the chain. Here we are. Single crochet, and then single crochet into the double crochet. And this is our repeat. Single crochet into the chain, and single crochet into the double crochet. And you are going to do that all the way across. Single crochet into the chain and single crochet into the double crochet until you reach the end of the row. When you reach the end of the row, you will have 1 stitch left. So I will meet you at the end of that row and I will tell you what to do next. I'm at the end of row 3 and I've got my 1 stitch left. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to single crochet in the very last stitch. So single crochet, which is the turning chain. So on top of the chain 3, the third chain, you are just doing your single crochet, which I have done now. So row 3 is complete, and let's see what our work looks like. So it's going to be a long row of looking just like that. There we are. This is how it looks so far. So rows 3 is complete. Rows 1, 2, 3 are now complete. So now that row number 3 is complete, we are ready to proceed to the next step. And the next step is we are going to work rows 4 to 25. And rows 4 to 25 are a sequence of repeat of rows we are going to repeat rows 2 and 3 alternatively. So the next row will be row number 2, and row number 2 was this row here. So just rewind and you can see what row number 2 was. You can go into the description box below and I will timestamp when row 2 begins. When you've done row 2, you will do row number 3, and again I will timestamp that in the description box below. So just click on the time and it will take you straight to the beginning of whichever row you want. So you're going to do rows 2 and 3 another 11 times, so that by the end of the last repeat you will have completed row number 25. When you have done row number 25, we will be ready to get to the next step. And when we are there, I will tell you what to do next. So if you're following the written pattern, you will know that this is discussed in different steps. And we have now completed step 4, which for me, I have completed row number 25. So I will still talk about different steps in this pattern, but I will also refer to numbers of rows because I think this will make a little bit more sense. Well, for me it does anyway. But we are now ready to proceed to step number 5. To begin step 5, or row number 26, as I like to refer to that as, then we need to chain 3 and turn our work around. So let's do our chain 3 and turn your work around. And now we are ready to start the next row. So we have to double crochet into the next stitch. So let's do a double crochet into the next stitch, not this one, but that one, because that's the first one, and the chain 3, remember, counts as a double crochet. So we're going to double crochet into this next stitch right here. Here we are. And here, this is where the repeat begins. We are going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, and double crochet into the next one. And we're going to do that a total of 43 times. So here's the first one, chain 1, skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next one. That's the second time. So you're going to do that another 41 times for a total of 43. When you have finished all your 43 repeats, you are now done with the row. So all the other stitches, you are going to leave them unworked. And you are now ready to proceed with step 6, which is row number 27. So the pattern says to chain 1 and turn your work around. So chain 1, turn your work, and we are ready to start the next row. And the next row is very easy. All you have to do is a single crochet in each stitch and each chain across. So remember that we do not work in 2 chain spaces, but we are working in the actual chains, okay? So make sure that you work in the chains and into your stitches. A single crochet in each stitch and each chain across. When you reach the end of the row, you will have a total of 88 stitches. I will rejoin you then so that we can begin with step number 7. I have now completed my row, which has 88 single crochet. So that is step number 6 completed, which is row number 27. We are moving on to step number 7, which means that we are going to work the last 2 rows another 2 times, and then we will do that first row again. So the last 2 rows for me were rows number 26 and rows 27. This one with a chain 1 and skip 1 and double crochet into the next one, that was row number 26, and the single crochet row was row number 27. So we are going to do rows 26 and 27 another 2 times. So that will be row 28, 29, 30, 31. And for row number 32, we are going to repeat number 26 again, which is this one. So you are going to end with a row which is with a chain 1, skip 1 and a double crochet. So for a total of, let me see, 7 shortened rows. When you have completed this step number 7, I will rejoin you and I will tell you what to do next. I have now completed the very last row of section 7. So in total we have 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. When you have finished that last row, we are simply going to cut the yarn off and we will be ready to begin on section number 8. So I will cut the yarn. There we are. Make sure that you have enough of a tail so that you can sew it later on. You can weave it in. And there we are. Section 7 is now complete. So now we are ready to start on section number 8. To begin section 8, you have a little bit of a decision to make. So now we have to do a chain, or if you would prefer to do that, you could pick up your 5.5 millimeter hook and do 123 foundation single crochet. That is completely optional. If you prefer to do the foundation single crochet method, go ahead with your 5.5 millimeter hook and do 123 of those. Or if you're going to do what I will be doing now, is I will be going back to my 6 millimeter hook, get the yarn, and we will now proceed to do a long chain. So we will start with a slip knot, and I will do 124 chains. So I will not be counting right here in front of you because this could take a long time. So I'm going to pause. Once I've got my 124 chains, I will tell you what to do next. Just a very quick reminder that if you are wishing to do the foundation single crochet row, then in the description box below, I will put a link to a tutorial that I have done on how to do the foundation single crochet. So please don't hesitate to click on it and check it out. Once you've got your 124 chains, we are now going to switch back to the 5.5 millimeter hook to carry on section 8. So to carry on with section 8, zoom in a little bit, okay, and we are going to go into the second chain from the hook. So 1 and 2, and we're going to put in a single crochet. single crochet, and now we are simply going to do a single crochet in all the other chains. When you get to the end of the whole of this row, you will have 123 single crochet. Once you've got all your 123 single crochet, I will meet you there and I will tell you what to do next. So I'll see you in a minute. I have now completed my 123 single crochet, which completes step number 8, and we are now ready to go on to step number 9, and we are going to continue with the single crochet row by attaching the other piece back again. So you're going to grab your other work that you've done already to the row where you've done 88 stitches, this here, and the last stitch that you did was a double crochet. So you're going to turn your work around so that this side is facing with the short rows here. Let me show you. So this is your work, and you see here where it stops, and these are the 7 rows that you did. You're going to rejoin your work here into that first double crochet with a single crochet, so that this row is going to be continued. So grab your crochet hook. I'm sorry, my words are going for some reason. And you are going to work into that last row that you did of the 7 rows, and you're going to do a single crochet in the very first stitch right here. That stitch here, which is a double crochet, you're going to do a single crochet. So you see both of these pieces are now joined. And now you're going to carry on with single crochet into the chain and single crochet into the double crochet. You're going to carry on this row until you are reaching the end of it by doing single crochet in each chain and each double crochet across. So by the time that you have finished this row, you will be back to having 200 and how many was it? 211 single crochet. So when you have finished this row, I will show you what to do next. So I'll see you in a minute. We have now concluded step number 9, and this is what we have so far. This is what we did previously. Then we did our 7 rows, and we rejoined with a new row of single crochet. So we're back to having a long piece of 211 single crochet. And now we are ready to go on to step number 10. Step number 10. Working in all the 211 stitches, we are going to repeat step 2 and 3 a further 12 times to create an extra 24 rows, so that we are going to do that side once again on the other side. So what is step number 2? Step number 2 is the row here with, I will zoom in. Step number 2 is this row here with the those here. I'm telling you, my language is leaving me today. I don't know why. Where we created this mesh, this is step number 2. So you're going to chain 3, turn your work around, double crochet into the next stitch, and the repeat begins at chain 1, skip a stitch and double crochet into the next stitch, and then do it again, chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next stitch, and that until the end of the row. When you get to the end of the row, you will do another double crochet into the very last stitch. Then you turn your work around, chain 1, and do step number 3, which is single crochet in each stitch and each chain across. And you're going to do steps 2 and 3, a total of 12 times, to create a further 24 rows. When you get to the end of the 24 rows, I will tell you how to do step number 11. So I will see you shortly. Now I have completed step number 10 and I absolutely love it. So here is that side. That was the first one. And this is the second one that we just finished. So our 25 rows in total are now done. And this is the section where this section is rejoined by the first section here. There we are. So we have a very long piece here, and this is like for the back. Okay, so now that we have done that, here is where I did my last single crochet. So we are now ready to proceed to step number 11, which will be to do the border all around the whole piece. So I will show you what to do in a little minute. Step 11. We are now ready to start on the very last step for this huge piece, which is the border. So let's start. The pattern says to chain 1. So let's do that. And then we have to turn the work to the side. So this is the side here, like that. So let's turn it to the side so we can start on this particular bit here. So this is very, very easy and simple to do. So let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. But honestly, this is really simple. So what we're going to do is at the end of each row, we're going to just simply put some single crochets. So when we come to the end of, let me show you here. When we come to the end of a single crochet row, we are going to put one single crochet. And when we come to the ends here of a double crochet, we're going to put in 2 single crochet into that space. So let's start. Here we are starting with the end of a single crochet row, which is this one here. So into this end here, we're going to put in a single crochet right there. I hope you can see that. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit further. Right, okay. So into that end row here, which is a single crochet row, we're going to put in 1 single crochet. And because this will be the very first stitch of the actual whole round, I'm going to put in a stitch marker here, so I will know exactly where to slip stitch at the end. So now we are at the end of a double crochet row here. You see, this is a double crochet. So here we are going to put 2 single crochet into that chain space. So here's the one and the second. Next one here is the end of a single crochet row. So we are going to put in 1 single crochet into that space here. One single crochet. I'm sorry, as soon as I'm behind the camera, I always seem to struggle with certain things. So here is 1 single crochet. And here is like a double crochet end row. So you're going to put in 2 single crochet. 1, 2. And you're going to do that all the way to the end of this particular row. When you get to the end of this row, where you will do a single crochet at the end of a single crochet row, 2 single crochet at the end of a double crochet row. When you get to the end of this row, you will have 1 single crochet row left. So I will join you then, and I will tell you what to do next. So I've now come to the end of this particular row where I've done all my single crochet. There we are. And I now have 1 row left. This is a row of single crochet. Into that end row, we are going to put in 3 single crochet, and that's because it's going to work a corner. So let's do this. Let's do 3 single crochet into that end there. So 1, 2, and 3. Now we have worked a corner here. We are going to flip this shawl to its side. So now we have a very long row that faces us. And I'm trying to get it all here. This is a very, very, very long row. And it is also the very starting chain of our work. Here, you see, I still have the end here from when I first chained all my, was it 212 chains. So now that we are here, we are simply going to do a single crochet in each chain across. So here is my first chain from the beginning. So into here I'm going to put in a single crochet, and I'm going to do a single crochet in each chain across right to the end of the row. So I'm going to go ahead and do all my single crochet, and then what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll just talk you through what to do next. You see, we have now done a corner, and it is laying nice and flat as well. So I will finish this row, and when I get to the end of it I will tell you what to do next, because at the end of the row we have to work a corner. So when I've got 1 stitch left, I will tell you what to do next. So I have now completed this row with all the single crochet or in all the chains of the starting chain. I have now 1 chain left. In that very last chain we are going to work a corner. So in that last chain we're going to do 3 single crochet to work a corner. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. And this is our corner completed. So I think now what I'm going to do is just talk you through for the rest of section 11. To complete section 11, which is just essentially single crochet all around, I will now just talk you through to what we have to do next. So we've just completed that row of single crochet in the starting chains, and we have done a corner into the very last chain. So now you're going to flip your work to the side once again, and into each end of the row here you will be faced with single crochet end of the row here, and then you will have an end of double crochet, then single crochet, double crochet. So we're going to do exactly what we did at first, which is at the end of this single crochet row you're going to put in a single crochet. Let's zoom in. See, right there at the end of this row, which is a single crochet row, as you can see here, you're going to put in a single crochet, and then at the end of this row, which is a double crochet row, you're going to put in 2 single crochet, and into the end of this row here you will do 1 single crochet, and into that double crochet row here you're going to put in 2 single crochet. And you're going to do that until you get to the very last row here, and into that very last one you're going to do a corner and work 3 single crochet. When you've done that, you're going to flip this to the side, and here we are faced with a row of just single crochet. So you're going to single crochet all the way to the end of this row, and then you will be faced with something a little bit different. So I will get to the end of this piece, and then you will be faced with that. I will zoom out so you can see. Okay, you will be faced with that particular one here, that piece where you worked your 7 rows. So what you're going to do when you get to the end of this row, you're just going to flip this to the side here and work as usual with your 2 single crochet at the end of double crochet rows and 1 single crochet at the end of a single crochet row until you get to here. Then you will flip this to the side once again, there we are, and you will work a single crochet into each of those chains, because this is now another chain where we started all the chains for the second piece. So you're going to do all your single crochets until you get to the last chain here. Into that very last chain you are going to put in 3 single crochet to work another corner. When you've done that, you are going to flip your work to the side once again, and you are simply going to do once again all your single crochet at the end of a single crochet row, and then 2 single crochet at the end of double crochet rows. And when you get to the end of this row, you have 1 row of single crochet left. Into that row you're going to do your 3 single crochet to work your final corner. And then when you've done that, you are ready to slip stitch into that very first single crochet that we did and fasten off all your yarn, and then you can just sew in all your ends and the shawl bit will be completed. So I will carry on and I will finish my piece, and I will meet you there and tell you what to do next. Okay, so I am now done with the main part, which is the actual shawl, which is just an amazing piece. Sadly, I can't show it to you completely because it is quite big. So what I'm going to do is just insert a picture right here. Doesn't it look just amazing? Okay, so now you have completed the shawl. You have option 1 and option 2. Option 1, you are not done with it, so you can just put everything away. Option 2 is we have now to do some I-cords. If you want to do some I-cords, I will be back to tell you what materials you need, and we can get started with the tutorial. We're now going to work on how to do the I-cord, and for this particular item, this beautiful shawl, we are going to need to make 3 I-cords. So I'm going to show you how to make one of them. And to get started, you are going to need your yarn, of course, just your normal yarn. You will need your 5.5 millimeter hook. And then you will need either a second crochet hook or a knitting needle, or I am just going to use one of those, which is just a cable needle. But you can use whichever one you want. You can use this, or a second crochet hook, or a knitting needle. This is completely up to you, but this will help you tremendously whilst doing the I-cord. To begin the I-cord, we're going to start with a slip knot on our crochet hook. Make sure that you leave yourself a nice length of yarn so that you can sew in the end at the end. So let's start with a slip knot. And now that we have our slip knot, we're going to chain 3. So let's chain 3. I'm getting all muddled up here. I have no idea why. So 1, 2, and 3. Maybe zoom in a little bit, yes? Okay. Now that we've got our 3 chains, we're going to insert our hook into the second chain from the hook. Going to yarn over and pull through. We now have 2 loops on the hook, and we're going to do that again into the first chain. So insert your hook into the first chain, yarn over and pull through. You now have 3 loops on the hook. So now that we have done that, this is step 1. We are ready to move on to step 2. So we are now ready to move on to step 2, and this is where you will need either your crochet hook or your knitting needle. And I'm going to grab my cable needle here. So we're going to have to move these 2 stitches onto the needle, or crochet hook, or whatever you want. So I'm moving these 2, and I will get the yarn back and ready to move on to what we need to do next. So we're going to yarn over and pull through that very first loop. Now what we need to do is move this next stitch onto the crochet hook. So move it to the crochet hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through that 1 loop. And now we're going to move that very third loop onto the crochet hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through just that 1 loop. And this is the step 2 completed. And to do step 3, we need to do the step 2 until you are happy with the length of the I-cord. In this particular case, it's got to be a 24-inch I-cord or 60 centimeters. So let's do that again, shall we? I will grab this needle and I will put these 2 stitches onto it. So 1 and 2. And now we are ready to continue. So we have got this one loop onto the crochet hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through that particular loop. Now we're going to put another stitch onto the crochet hook, just like so. And we're going to yarn over and pull through just that one loop. And we're going to do that again with that loop here. And we're going to yarn over and pull through just that one loop. There we are. Let's do that one last time. We're going to put these 2 stitches onto a needle or a crochet hook. And we are now ready to proceed. So that one loop here, you're going to yarn over the hook and pull through that one here. Now we need to put the next stitch onto the crochet hook. So let's do that. It's always more difficult when you are recording somehow, but it isn't, I promise. It's just really easy. There we are. And you're going to yarn over the hook and pull through just that one stitch. See, not both, just the one. And then we're going to do that one more time. So put that stitch here onto the crochet hook and you're going to yarn over the hook and pull through just that one stitch. And you can see that the I-cord is starting to form, right? So I'm going to do a few more rows and then I will show you how it looks. I know that I said I would do just a few more rows and then I will show you how it looks. Well, I really kind of got carried away and I did the full 24-inch long. So this is what my I-cord looks like. I think it looks pretty nice. Don't you? It does look like an I-cord, right? And it is 24-inch long. So now that I'm at the end of my I-cord, and I assume that you have as well, all you have to do to finish this one is to just yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And that's it. You just need to do one more chain and fasten off your yarn. Leave a tail so that you can sew it in. And that's it. Your I-cord is now finished. So I'm going to sew in my end right now. There we are. It really doesn't take long. And you can just do that anywhere you want onto the I-cord because it will become completely invisible later on. You will not see where your ends are at all. So there we are, and I'm just going back just one more time just to secure it nicely. There we are. And just need to snip the yarn. And it is done. There we are. I have my first I-cord made. I am super happy with it. It's got a really wonderful texture to it and it just really is nice. So now that I've done my first I-cord, I will carry on and do another 2 and then I will rejoin you and show you my finished shawl with the attached I-cords whilst I'm wearing it. So I'll see you shortly. Well, who would have thought that making I-cord is so much fun? I absolutely love that. I'm going to make some more and play around and see what I can do. This is so much fun. There you go, I-cord heart.
So that concludes the tutorial, and you have now completed your wonderful shawl. I hope that you will enjoy wearing it as much as I am wearing mine. And of course, David and myself, we would love to see pictures of your items. So don't hesitate to email both of us. Both of our email addresses are in the description box below. So please feel free to check all that out. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, happy knitting and crochet everyone!